Alright, so because I did the video starting the process of this repair here, the last time I did this I got some good feedback, at least doing a follow-up in the middle of it. I am up against the clock, that's why I can't do the whole GoPro thing, so I'll show you where I'm at right now with this. Alright, spinning around here, we've got everything taken out, we've replaced the bad rotten wood that was in this area. It was so bad I had to put 2x4 nailers in some of this area because the rafters were so rotted. Got all that taken care of, ice and water. There was a void right back here with no metal or anything, so what I ended up doing was putting a piece of edge metal on to cover that, because there's a window porch back here, so it covered the unfinished piece of wood, the decking and stuff. Bent a large piece of coil stock with black facing the back, that way it's on the wall back behind here to actually block it in, so if they look, it's going to look like part of the dark shadow. Then on the outside I started my step flashing, I'm sorry, not step flashing, the starter row, then the shingle and step flashing going up. That's why these two little bends here, I had to bend the piece out to the original corner and rebend it so it could come up higher, because it didn't quite go that high. So yes, there's a little cosmetic bend there, but I didn't have anything else to match this color to actually get high enough up behind here. So other than those two, the factory cut bent piece here was high enough to go up. So shingle step, shingle step, shingle step. If you do it correctly, your shingle step flashing, your flashing covering your shingle should be right about that buildup right there, but still be hidden. And you don't nail anywhere near the crease. You also don't nail out on the bottom edge. Some people do. I'm not a fan of it. As long as you're not torquing it in there in a weird position and then nailing it, it won't twist up. So what I do is I gently push it in there so it relaxes the way it needs to lay. Shoot the top if you want to keep it shot down so it doesn't move, because you can't always, you know, if you're in siding, you're not going to take siding out to nail the decking of the subsiding wall. So it's fine to do that. Now, as I said, if you contort it with torque and then you shoot it, it will kind of raise up the bottom. So just be aware of little things like that. But this is the way it really needs to be. So water coming down this edge comes out on the next shingles headlap with the appropriate size step flashing. So working our way up, you repeat that process. Up here is where it had that drop down. Once I got the bad wood replaced, what I ended up doing was taking a 1x nailer and laying a 1x. It was a 1x8. I cut it down to about 3-inch tall, laid it in there all the way across. It raised it up just enough, and then put a piece of OSB on top of it coming into the corner of this. Once I did that, it was about a 13-inch piece of OSB, to where if you took a straight edge, a 2x4 on this, and it goes all the way up, and where it intersects into there, just on the underneath side of that, you need to count for your 1/2-inch plywood. So that was about 13 inches. That's that plywood you're seeing, or I'm sorry, OSB you're seeing, oriented strand board. Then there was a small little gap where it actually dropped off to the deck. Not major, but I had some scrap metal, so I cut strips down to smooth that transition all the way down. That way if you stand on it, you can hear it pop. It's not going to tear a shingle or anything. That got nailed off. And then here's a little important tip I see a lot of guys do repairs that just ignore. You need to tuck under your old paper, ice and water, whatever it is. Well, you're not going to tuck under ice and water, but this is old tar paper. Even if it's synthetic, what you're working on needs to lap under, just like if it was being a new install. That way, if there ever is an issue, it doesn't run right under your work. So I see that a lot. I want to point that out. I'll also point out up here, I've got ice and water behind this stuff here. Not a crucial, not a big deal, but where this metal here stopped, I needed to transition to the step flash, go up farther. I was able to bend it over so it's solid. It did give me an area to nail this stuff to. Ice and water on top. Go all the way up past your transition here. This was a relief cut, because if you're folding a corner into here and it doesn't intersect up to the top, you got nowhere for that metal to go. It's going to pull apart. So relief cut, fold it down. Edge metal is going to go up here. White's all I have, so they're going to have to go with it. It needs to be adjusted to the right area. I got to trim this up just a little bit. Don't nail down into your glass. You're going to break glass if it goes under this. I don't think it goes up that high, but be aware. You're going to nail on your good lumber up here. Then what I did, so this is the last row it's going to come across. The edge metal will go on, and I'm going to start this next section. Now, I want to point out something. You can't mark your bottom lines where you want this to go, because as soon as you throw a shingle down, it's going to cover the line of the bottom. So you have to measure or mark your lines off the tops of your shingles. And an easy way of doing that, just a rough rule of thumb, if this was a standard American shingle, not metric, it would be a 5-inch exposure, so you count 5, 10, 15, 20. That would give you your bottom reveal. In this case, it's what is it? 6 5/8, I think is what this one is, this roof. So you're gonna have to do the math, back it down, or just throw pieces in, and then you can measure the top of your shingle, if this makes sense here. That's the other part I want to point out. So put on build up, build up, build up, build up. Those are all correct. And then this one, I need an area to nail this into the wood and not hit this metal, because that transition's about right here. So I just buried this right here. Obviously it doesn't come down another 5 6/8, or 5 and 5 and 5/8. Wow, it's a long day. Get that mark right there. So that's going to be the target line for this first one. I am going to use a little bit larger of a starter row up on this to get your keyways covered, but also to come up higher, not have an area for the nail to miss and hit your metal. Once that's done, then you catch the top row here of this shingle, and that's all I can do because this next row, the top is actually just under here. But I wanted to leave this laid out to show you what they did. If you were relying on copious amounts of caulking, you're not doing something right. What they actually had was the flashing from this wall going down, and then this roof came up over it, and they never adjusted it correctly, and then the roof was done later at some point. It was just a cobbled mess with caulking all up in this area. So I just opted to completely remove this and broke it off where it goes behind all this. Carefully cut this. It is winter here now and it's cold, so you gotta be careful with vinyl. That's where the kick out is now going to get the water out onto this section here. That's why there's a doubled up piece right here, because if you're taking an 8-inch high, you can't just get it up there and pull that bottom out to come out here, because it's going to pull your shingles away. So it's pulled down further, caulked at an angle, and then I started a fresh one down lower. These will be adjusted slightly, and the most crucial part, you got to get it under the last piece of flashing. I also noticed when I pulled this out, there were nails in the bottom bend of the flashing, the most ridiculous area to ever put a nail. So if you're tempted to, do not do that. It's stupid. It's wrong. This is just scrap pieces so I could get it lined up, get going. You can see how much higher the flashing is going to go now. It's got to go under this. I'll probably add one more on top of this and under that. Then put all my shingles in all the way over. Just continue on this way. Do not forget, I see this too a lot when people are doing repairs, especially on 3-tab. This is the last row they're going to replace. They'll put it in and they may or may not nail this, but they always forget to nail this row. So this is the row. Watching out for your keyways. A lot of people forget, especially on 3-tab repairs. I've gone to a lot of repairs that some companies done a 3-tab repair on to find out that the new tab they put in, the one above it blows out because they never nailed that tab there back off. And also, whenever you've compromised a shingle roof that's been on the roof and sealed for any length of time and you split that seal, you need to make sure you reseal that with a couple dabs of sealer. That way it sticks back down. Because all your new stuff, when it warms up, will stick. But all the old stuff, it's not. So just some little pointers there on that. Some little tips to point out that a lot of things I see like that, issues. This is way more solid. Just don't go walking down too far where you get into here, because I don't know what they got under that. This was a bit of a mess here. Working solo, no one's here, just me. We're fighting the clock here now. Sun's going down, gonna get dark. All I gotta do, maybe another 15 minutes, just running this over, nailing it off, taking the tools and stuff, cleaning it out. I already cleaned up all the mess. Every time I need to walk back to the truck to get something, I would take trash with me and bring my new stuff back. By the way, if you guys are noticing that down there, that little power box right there, that thing is badass. You need to check that out. I need to actually do a video for the guy that sent that to me. A little overdue. Alright, well, that's really all I wanted to show you, because the way this was, common sense, it was a no-no. So let's just go over common sense. I say that a lot. I mean, people just think if they throw a shingle up on the roof and they shoot a nail through it, they're a professional roofer. And there's some things that you just got to be like, okay, rain falls out of the sky, rain hits the shingle. Where's it go? It runs down. When it gets off of that shingle, what's it do? Well, if it's roofed backwards, it's going to go under the shingles. If it comes down and hits a roadblock, it's going to divert sideways. And that's why they had so much caulking over there, because when it hit this dead end, and by the way, I scooped a bucket full of granules out. It's probably a GAF roof, an older GAF roof. Granules washing off everywhere, and they were building up in here, and that's why that was caulked full of crap. So just slow down, think it through. Kind of like that saying, measure twice, cut once. Think about the roof and do it once. All right, we're plagued with new people not coming into the industry and a bunch of derelicts in the trades. It pisses me off. I hate seeing people pay good money for a roof to find out it's junk. And the other side of that coin is the salesmen that look great, dress up with a nice polo, never done a roof in their life, and sub it to whatever the hell they want to make more profit, and they still screw you. So You got to do your own due diligence. You got to use some common sense. And until next time, be safe. I got to get back at this. I'm losing sunlight here. Guys are wrapping up on a metal job. We're about done for the season. It is December 4th, maybe? 3rd, 4th, Monday, whatever. After, I don't know. Anyway, until next time, be safe. We'll see you on the next one. Oh, and if you like this kind of follow-up throughout, let me know, because it only takes a few extra minutes, 10 minutes to do another video like this during, but I don't have time to film throughout. Until next time, be safe. We'll see you then.